Jake Morrison stood upon the wide glass observation deck of the Central Administration Complex, watching as dawn broke over New Eden. The golden sun, steady and warm, climbed above the horizon, spilling light across the massive agricultural domes below. They shimmered like jewels scattered across the valley, each dome a testament to what humanity could achieve when it dared to dream beyond Earth. 2 million souls now called this place home. 2 million lives born from a gamble taken just 15 years earlier, when only 5,000 pioneers had first stepped onto this alien soil. New Eden was chosen for its promise: clean air, fertile ground, fresh water untouched by industry. Here, Earth's crops grew freely, no genetic manipulation required. There were no predators stalking the forests, no poisonous flora hiding among the fields. The weather, mild and forgiving, had made this world feel less like an outpost and more like a paradise. Humanity had named it well, New Eden. Jake walked the bright, bustling corridors as the colony awoke to another day. Workers filed in for morning shifts, their faces calm and purposeful. Children darted through the hallways on their way to school, their laughter echoing like music against the walls. They were the first true generation of New Eden. Earth was only a half-remembered story to them, something distant, like myths whispered from an older age. Jake's pride swelled at what they had accomplished. 15 years ago, humanity had left the cradle seeking survival. Today, here on Kepler 442c, it had found more than survival. It had found flourishing. Lisa Carter, head of communications, was busy at her station uploading routine reports, shipments, health updates, harvest yields, the lifeblood of interstellar administration. She smiled as Jake approached, assuring him that everything was stable, no problems to report. Dr. Henry Walsh checked medical data. Disease nearly eradicated, lifespans climbing higher than Earth's averages. Carol Peterson's industrial sector thrived, producing everything the colony needed: tools, electronics, vehicles, even short-range spacecraft. Raw ore flowed steadily from the northern mountains, feeding the forges that made the settlement self-sufficient. Captain Sam Hughes oversaw planetary defense, though his position was mostly symbolic. Pirates ignored agricultural colonies. There were no known hostile aliens in this sector. Defense satellites and surface batteries existed more as reassurance than necessity. They had never fired a shot. In the Agricultural Command Center, Nancy Thompson prepared for another season of surplus. New Eden's food was now traded across human space, its fruits and grains considered the finest in the colonies. The schools, too, pulsed with ambition. Children studied sciences and mathematics, dreaming of far-off worlds they might one day terraform, govern, or colonize. Humanity's expansion across the stars demanded dreamers, and New Eden seemed to produce them effortlessly. The afternoon unfolded in steady rhythms: reports, meetings, reviews. Life here had a calm order, the sense of a civilization settling into balance. Jake allowed himself to feel something rare for any leader: true satisfaction. But then, the pattern broke. Lisa's instruments registered an anomaly: multiple large objects emerging from faster-than-light travel. Too many for a convoy, and with signatures that matched no human design. The readings grew sharper: massive vessels, crystalline hulls glinting as though alive, each bristling with weapons unmistakably built for war. The colony's alarm sirens howled. Jake raced to communications as Lisa frantically attempted to hail the unknown fleet. No response. The ships accelerated toward orbit, their weapons charging. Captain Hughes scrambled defenses, but he knew, satellites and surface guns designed for pirates would be little more than kindling against such power. At best, they could buy minutes. The lead vessel broadcast at last. A reptilian being with crystalline skin appeared upon the screen. Its voice, heavily accented but intelligible, carried no warmth. "I am Admiral Thar of the Vorthon Empire. You trespass upon sovereign territory. Evacuate immediately or be destroyed." Jake tried to reason. No trace of intelligent life had been found when New Eden was surveyed. The colony had lived peacefully here for 15 years. Surely, this was a misunderstanding. Star's response was cold disdain. Your laws mean nothing. These worlds have belonged to the Vorthon Empire for millennia. Primitive mammals have no claim. You have 1 hour to evacuate. 1 hour. For 2 million people. Lisa transmitted urgent distress signals to Earth and nearby colonies, but everyone knew help was months away at best. The colony's few transport ships could only carry thousands. There was no chance of saving the population. Families gathered in shelters built for storms and quakes, not plasma bombardments. Parents held children, whispering comfort they did not believe. The hour passed too quickly. Admiral Star reappeared once more, his crystalline eyes unblinking. He gave the order. The skies rained fire. Plasma beams lanced into agricultural domes, forests, cities. The ground shook, glass towers shattered, entire valleys lit with the glow of annihilation. Lisa stayed at her post until the last moment, sending humanity's final words from New Eden across the void. Her voice, calm despite the thunder outside, "Tell Earth, we endured to the last." The transmission cut. For 3 hours, fire fell from the heavens. When silence returned, New Eden, once a jewel of human expansion, lay shattered. A colony erased. 2 million voices extinguished. And humanity, still distant and unaware, was about to awaken to a truth it had long avoided: the galaxy was not empty. It was dangerous. News of New Eden's fall did not arrive quietly. Weeks later, the final transmission reached Earth, Lisa Carter's calm voice cutting through static, "Tell Earth, we endured to the last." Then silence. For a moment, the great councils and assemblies of humanity refused to believe. New Eden was their crown jewel. The colony that had proven humanity could thrive among the stars, not just survive. 2 million people. Gone. The news struck like a knife into the collective soul of Earth. The official report was clinical, almost sterile: New Eden colony has been destroyed by hostile extraterrestrial forces identifying themselves as the Vorthon Empire. But ordinary people did not hear sterility. They heard betrayal. They heard loss. They heard war. Cities across Earth fell silent as the broadcasts replayed Lisa's final words. In homes, people wept openly. In schools, children asked teachers why the stars were suddenly dangerous. And in every government hall, the unspoken question echoed. Had humanity been naive to believe it could spread unchallenged across the galaxy? For decades, Earth's explorers had whispered of ruins on distant worlds, of vanished civilizations, of strange artifacts buried in dust. But the warnings had always been faint, the evidence ambiguous. Humanity had convinced itself it was alone. Safer that way. Simpler. New Eden's annihilation shattered that illusion. The Vorthon Empire was not myth. It was real. And it had just written its existence into human history in fire. In Geneva, the United Earth Assembly convened in emergency session. The great chamber, with its curved rows of seats, buzzed with anger, grief, and fear. Delegates from Mars, Titan, the Jovian stations, and the outer colonies linked in through holographic projectors, their voices overlapping in chaos. Some called for immediate retaliation, for fleets to be dispatched to burn Vorthon worlds in vengeance. Others warned of caution. Humanity's navy was young, its fleet scattered, its technology untested against alien powers. At the center of the storm stood Admiral Elias Grant, Supreme Commander of Earth's defense fleet. He was an old soldier, forged in the last wars of Earth itself before the age of the colonies. His hair was silver, his face carved with years of command. But his voice, when it cut through the clamor, was steady as steel. "We must understand this clearly," he said, eyes sweeping the assembly. "The Vorthons are not raiders. They are an empire. They command fleets that dwarf ours. If they wished to, they could have pushed further. They could be burning Mars, Luna, Earth itself. Yet they stopped with New Eden. Why? The question stilled the chamber. Some argued it was a warning, a show of force meant to terrify humanity back into its cradle. Others suspected arrogance. Perhaps the Vorthons saw humans as nothing more than vermin, unworthy of full conquest. Admiral Grant offered another possibility. We are being tested. They destroyed one colony to see how we respond. Whether we fight, or whether we yield. The military response began at once. Shipyards orbiting Earth, Mars, and Titan shifted to wartime production. Civilian freighters were retrofitted with armor and weapons. Research labs dusted off abandoned projects, experimental plasma shields, railgun arrays, prototype faster-than-light drives. Young men and women lined up outside recruitment centers, not for pay, but for revenge. New Eden had been a home, and its loss was personal. Humanity had been struck, and it would not stay silent. Across the outer colonies, whispers spread, if New Eden could fall, so could we. Fear tightened its grip. Some worlds demanded the fleet be split to protect them, while others called for unity, arguing that division was what the Vorthons would exploit. Admiral Grant fought to keep the strategy clear. We cannot scatter our strength. If the Vorthons come, they will come with overwhelming force. We must prepare to meet them as one. Still, doubt gnawed at every council chamber. Could Earth's young fleet stand against an empire that claimed millennia of rule? Meanwhile, quiet debates stirred in darker corners of human society. Dr. Miriam Zhao, historian of alien ruins, published a paper that shook academic circles. The Vorthons may not be the first. She presented evidence of shattered cities on worlds far from Earth, relics suggesting ancient wars. Civilizations erased long before humanity walked upright. If the Vorthons have ruled for millennia, she argued, then where are their rivals? Where are the other empires? The galaxy is too vast for only one to endure. Her implication was chilling. Perhaps the Vorthons had not merely conquered rivals. Perhaps they had exterminated them. And if so, humanity now stood on the same precipice. The paper was dismissed in official channels. Too speculative, too dangerous to morale. But in private, officers and leaders read it and understood. The destruction of New Eden might not be a single tragedy. It might be the opening act of something far greater. Months passed. New Eden remained a smoking graveyard under Vorthon control. Surveillance probes sent to the system were destroyed before they could transmit full data. Humanity watched from afar, helpless, grieving still. But in that grief, something hardened. New Eden became more than a lost colony. It became a symbol. Children carried its flag in parades on Earth. Songs were written of its fall, of Lisa Carter's last words. Tell Earth we endured. They became a rallying cry. A vow. Factories worked day and night. Shipyards glowed against the darkness of space. New designs took shape, the Resolute-class destroyers, the Vigilant-class cruisers, vessels meant not just to defend, but to strike back. Admiral Grant watched the fleet grow, but he knew numbers alone would not decide the war. The Vorthons had technology humanity did not yet understand, crystalline armor, energy weapons that carved cities apart in minutes. To fight them, humanity would need not just strength, but ingenuity. And humanity's ingenuity had always been its sharpest weapon. In a quiet meeting, deep beneath Geneva, Grant spoke to the Assembly's High Council. We must be ready for the worst. If the Vorthons come again, they will come to break us. They will not accept coexistence. Not after New Eden. A delegate asked the question that no one wanted to voice aloud, Admiral, if we cannot win? Grant's gaze was unflinching. Then we will make them bleed so deeply, they will wish they had left us alone. Humanity does not kneel. Out among the stars, the Vorthon fleets moved like shadows, shifting in ways human sensors could barely track. Scouts reported glimpses of them near outer sectors, never striking, only watching. It was a game. A hunt. Humanity was the prey. But the prey was sharpening its claws. When New Eden burned, humanity mourned. But mourning was only the beginning. The fire that had consumed the colony now burned in the hearts of billions. And when humanity burned, history had always changed. The galaxy expected humanity to weep. The Vorthons expected humanity to kneel. For a time, it seemed that might happen. Earth licked its wounds, buried its dead, and built ships in silence. But beneath the silence, something else stirred. Admiral Grant understood a truth most had not yet grasped: humanity could not win an open war. Not yet. The Vorthon fleets numbered in the thousands, their arsenals forged over ages of conquest. To challenge them directly would be suicide. But humans had never been strangers to impossible wars. Their own history was carved from defeats turned into victories through wit, through patience, through refusal to die quietly. And so Earth chose a different path. Not open war. Not yet. A silent war. It began with whispers. Merchant convoys allied with the Vorthons vanished along remote trade routes. Entire cargo fleets disappeared into the dark between stars. No wreckage, no survivors, just silence. Vorthon admirals accused human raiders, but they could find no proof. Weeks later, orbital refineries over a Vorthon frontier world erupted in flames. Officially, it was declared an accident. But within Vorthon command circles, rumors spread: human saboteurs had infiltrated the installations, leaving no trace behind. Again and again, such accidents multiplied. A supply station's reactors overloaded. A patrol fleet's navigation data was corrupted, leading them into the gravity well of a brown dwarf. A weapons depot on a remote moon simply vanished in a nuclear fireball. The Vorthons began to speak of ghosts. The truth was less supernatural, but no less terrifying. Earth had unleashed its first covert arm, the Aegis Directorate, a shadow organization born from intelligence agencies and black-budget military programs. Its operatives were scientists, hackers, saboteurs, and soldiers trained to vanish into alien crowds. They wore no insignias, flew no banners, and when captured, bore false identities that unraveled into nothing. The Directorate was never meant to win battles. Its mission was to unbalance, to sow fear, to remind the Vorthons that humanity was not prey, it was a predator learning the terrain. Every strike carried the same hidden message, encoded into signals that slipped through Vorthon networks. Remember New Eden? We do. In the United Earth Assembly, not all approved. Some leaders feared provoking full annihilation. We are children throwing stones at titans, one delegate warned. If they turn their full gaze upon us, Earth will burn. But others, especially those who had lost family at New Eden, stood firm. If we do nothing, Earth will still burn. At least this way, they learn we are not afraid. Admiral Grant sided with the latter. Quietly, he gave the Directorate broader authority. Humanity's fleets would continue to grow, but until they were ready, it was the ghosts who would fight. The galaxy beyond watched in uneasy fascination. The Harari, a neutral and ancient race who had long avoided Vorthon wrath, issued veiled statements. They did not name humanity, but they whispered warnings into diplomatic channels: the flame that survives the storm often becomes the fire that consumes the forest. Other minor civilizations saw opportunity. If the humans could bleed the Empire, perhaps they too might break free of its grip. Small rebellions flickered in the shadows, emboldened by rumors that Earth dared defy the Vorthons. The Vorthons themselves grew restless. They had crushed countless species before, yet none had resisted in this way. Others had begged, or hidden, or burned quickly. Humanity fought differently. Humanity struck where it could not be seen. The arrogance of the Empire began to crack. One night, if nights could be said to exist between stars, a Vorthon flagship entered the Sol system, It did not come in peace. Its commander broadcast a message to all of Earth, its voice translated into every tongue. You are insects gnawing at the boots of gods. Cease your insolence, or Earth itself will be reduced to ash. This is your only mercy. For 3 days, the ship remained in orbit of Jupiter, daring Earth to respond. Humanity watched in silence. Then, without warning, the Vorthon vessel suffered a catastrophic systems failure. Its shields collapsed, its engines detonated, and the pride of the Empire was reduced to molten wreckage drifting among Jupiter's moons. The Directorate never claimed responsibility. Officially, Earth declared it an accident of alien design. But across the planet, millions stood in the streets and cheered as the wreckage lit up Jupiter's skies. The Vorthons seethed. Their empire had been humiliated, not on the frontier, but in the very cradle of humanity. Still, Admiral Grant did not celebrate. In private, he confided to his staff, every victory sharpens their hatred. When they come, it will not be with one ship. It will be with fire enough to remake the stars. His words proved true. Deep space sensors soon detected massive fleet movements along Vorthon borders, more than humanity had ever seen. The Empire was gathering. Yet in the shadows, another whisper began. The Harari, those ancient watchers, sent a delegation to Earth. Their emissary, tall and robed, spoke only once before vanishing again into the void. You think the Vorthons are the storm. They are not. They are but the wind before it. Something older waits. Something that does not conquer empires, it erases them. Then they left. No explanations. No maps. Just silence. Some dismissed it as cryptic fearmongering. But others, reading Dr. Zhao's work on ancient ruins, remembered her warning, the galaxy is too vast for only one empire to endure. Perhaps the Vorthons had not risen alone. Perhaps others had risen. And been struck down. By what? The question gnawed at every mind that heard it. Still, humanity's path was set. The silent war had begun, and there was no retreat. New Eden's ghost guided every strike, every whisper, every act of defiance. Humanity had chosen its answer to annihilation, not surrender, but resistance. And the Vorthons, for the first time in millennia, felt the creeping sensation of doubt. The fire that consumed New Eden had spread. It flickered in shadows, danced in sabotage, whispered in rebellion. Humanity had lit a flame in the dark, and the galaxy was beginning to see it. But in that same dark, something else stirred. Something far older, watching both prey and predator alike.